And that comes to the soil as well, by the way. We're talking to Dr Uwe from Neutrog, how easily it is to test whether your soil is compost or biologically active. If your soil's not alive, the plants they'll really struggle. Good morning to you, Uwe.
Good morning, Graham. Yes, I've been talking a long time about soil microbes and how important it is to have them. And I thought, how does a home gardener know whether their soil is microbiologically active or inert? Now, obviously, you can send your soil away and get a test done, which generally measures how much carbon dioxide is released, and that then relates to your biological activity. But there's another test. I came across a story a few years ago about a farmer who buried his old underpants in the field, and he came back a few months later to see whether it had broken down. And in his productive field, it had broken down, but in this non-productive field, the underpants were pretty much the same as when he buried them.
How bizarre is that? I assume the bacteria and the fungi had used his undies as a food source.
Well, exactly. The cotton is essentially cellulose. That's the stuff that makes up most of the plant matter.
Yep.
And as such, it makes a really good substitute to measure how well organic material in your own soil gets broken down. Now, obviously, you don't have to use old undies. You can just buy some 100% cotton or calico, give it a rinse to remove the chemicals. Then you just put a vertical slit into your soil with a spade, fold the cotton strip from the bottom up towards the handle, and gently push it into that slit that you made. And when you pull the spade out, the slit then sits vertically in your soil profile. And then you can come back 6 to 10 weeks later, gently lift out of the area and where the cotton strip was, obviously. And then the areas that are biologically active, they should have broken down that cotton strip. It's really very, very simple.
How amazing. That is a very simple little test. You could use your undies, but as you say, if you're going to buy some really good cotton calico, make sure you wash it to get any of the chemicals out. If your soil's biologically active, or if it's low, and the cotton comes out all in one piece, what can you do then?
Well, I'd suggest that you add some compost or mulch into your soil. Now, one of the best would be to dig in some Whoflungdung, which has nutrients including nitrogen, but plenty of organic matter. So that kickstarts your soil microbes along, and even better if you water it all in with some go-go juice. Now, you can then go back and retest that area to check whether your biological activity is increased. So using organic matter, whether it's a mulch like Whoflungdung or another source, generally works. Just remember that if you put it on a material which is low in nitrogen and doesn't have much carbon, then you won't see a large increase in activity, and nitrogen is really critical.
Isn't that fantastic? It's just simple. Now, look, the big question is, do you need to wear a lab coat to do this test?
No, you don't. You can just do that wearing your normal garden gear. It's that simple.
How brilliant. Sounds like a simple test that all home gardeners can do easily enough. If you find that your biologically activity is low in the soil, just get some Whoflungdung, we're always talking about that, and then water on the go-go juice, which is just brilliant. In no time, your soil activity will be up and running, and those bits of cotton, what have you, just end up threads. Whoflungdung and go-go juice are available at good hardware stores, as well as all the garden centres where you get your plants. Brilliant. I'm going to go and do that today. Thank you, Uwe.
No problems, Graham. Glad that you learnt something. It's unusual for me to be able to teach you something.
No. I've always learned something from you, mate. That was brilliant. I like that. And I hope other listeners were as well. Get out there and do a little test just to see if your soil is actually alive.